Powered by Riverside FM.
Okay, so this week for our Browns Backers interview series, we get to chat with Cliff from the Mile High Browns Backers. Cliff, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's
good.
It's
Thanks for taking the time. I know everybody's time's valuable. I know you got a lot of things you're doing and getting ready for.
Knock on wood. Is there a miracle on the shore happening? I don't know.
I think there might be. So as we get into this, just kind of tell me a little bit about your guys' chapter out there.
All right, we've been around since we were celebrating our 40th anniversary in 2023.
Nice.
People answered an ad in a paper in one of the newspapers here back in 1983. Hey, we put a big old NASA satellite dish in my backyard, and hey, Browns fans, come on over to our house and help us pay for it. So at that point, they answered. 30 people actually answered that classified ad, and that's how the Mile High Browns Backers started. And then the first time they came outside of Terry and Sheila Akers' house, we went to a banquet room at a hotel, and we used to carry our TVs into the banquet rooms, and then we'd string about $100 worth of cable. From Radio Shack, and we'd string it out to the satellite dish out back of the hotel, and crank the dang thing till we could find the satellite signal and stuff like that. And then we started going into bars and then DirecTV, and it's been a process since then.
Yeah. So where are you guys at now? What's your viewing location?
Well, we have 3 viewing locations. We're at Stoney's Uptown in the 17th, or in the Capital Area District, 17th and Downing. We watch at Alpha Charlie's, which is down on Arapahoe Road in Peoria on the southern part of the city. And then our main viewing location is Stoney's at 111 Lincoln. And I will tell you that it is absolutely one of the I would put it up with any Browns Backers bar in this town or in this country, that it's one of the best.
Nice. So Stoney's really loves you guys is the bottom line.
Yes, Stoney's loves us, and we love them, and we love everything about Stoney's has brought us sponsors and things that we can do that I thought we would never be able to do and stuff, and help us to raise the types of money that we've raised over since 2018. We've raised over about $35,000 for different organizations throughout the Denver area, including people that lost everything in the Hayman fires a few years back and stuff like that. And we found ways to find $1,500 during the pandemic and stuff like that. So about $35,000. And our main 3 this year is Savio House, who's been helping out Savio House, who's been helping out the folks, families in crisis since 1968 here in town. Senior Support Services, who's helped out homeless seniors since 1974 here at a Mile High. And then we have a new one, Angel Eyes, and they sponsor a beer fest for Suds for Sids in March, and we will be donating. Our goal is $3,000 to them to purchase tickets to introduce this great beer fest to them, or to more of the Denver area.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. So you guys are involved in a lot out there. You got a lot going on. So with being involved in that many different things, having 3 different viewing locations, I mean, how many members do you have? You got to have a decent amount, right?
Membership has never been a terribly important number to us. We have 372 or 373 right here, but membership doesn't matter. What matters is game day at our watch party sites and stuff like that. We're not like a lot of organizations in Cleveland and stuff like that. It's about game day, and we try to throw our parties outside of the market or outside of the season, they can be somewhat successful. But we've also had what's amazing about the Mile High Browns backers is that to be honest with you, we got old. And as an organization, and at the end of 2017, or that 0-16 season, Stoney's one of the top 3, and that was their 3rd year of being the top sports bar in Denver. Called us and said, "We would love to have you come to Stoney's and use us as your watch party site." Well, needless to say, go to them and say, yes, absolutely. So we're at Stoney's as our main watch party site at this point, and it's been a fantastic relationship since the day we walked in 2018.
So what I'm gathering is the owner of Stoney's has to be a Browns fan. There's no other explanation.
No, he is not a Browns fan. What he is, and the other owner, Will Troutman, who was the individual that recognized the opportunity that, hey guys, we got to go get the Browns backers. They're an organized club. They obviously have some decent social media that we're doing our best to expand and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why they reached out to us. Stoney Jessup and Will Troutman, who opened up Stoney's, are originally from Kansas and Oklahoma, where they, we compete with this. I don't want to say we compete. We work with Stoney's and with the New Orleans Saints fans, and then several different college groups that call Stoney's home and stuff. So, but Stoney's reached out to us originally, and it's been a relationship. We work with Coors Light. We work with White Claw. We work with, Twisted Tea, who is the sponsor of our Twisted Tea tailgate with facilities at Stoney's this coming Sunday. So I'm the luckiest Browns backers president on the planet.
That's awesome.
No, that is awesome. And there really aren't, we've talked to quite a few Browns backers groups, and while they do get decent support from their viewing locations, it sounds like Stoney's is on a whole different level from just about everybody else. So it's pretty fantastic to see.
Yeah.
But no, you got a lot of members. You got 3 different viewing locations. You already kind of you alluded to it a little bit about a couple of events that you have coming up. But can you tell us a little bit more about those events?
Yeah, coming up on this coming Saturday after Thanksgiving is the 216 at 5280 Browns Backers Bash at Stoney's. Tickets are $20. And that'll get you a commemorative cup. You walk in the door, commemorative cup, and several different beers of choice. Obviously, those under 21 will enjoy a complimentary soda throughout the event. So that's
nice. We'll put a QR code up here as you're talking, so everybody can get all the information for that.
Okay, please scan that QR code. It's $20. That gets you in the door. We have a former Browns joining us, alumni from.
Who you got?
So we got Phil Taylor, offensive
nice.
Offensive lineman from 2011 to 2014.
Defensive lineman, wasn't he?
Defensive lineman, absolutely. I apologize. Yes.
Yeah, we got an interview coming up with him, so he's a friend of the show. Yeah,
he's gonna be here on that Saturday night, and I look forward to us showing him a good time. That being a part of what is happening with Browns fans and Browns backers organizations around the country, and especially in the NFL 32 cities. It's happening, and that. Phil, being a part of this is going to be a lot of fun, and you can make a few bucks, man. So,
it's not a bad gig, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Cliff, what's your story? Are you from Northeast Ohio originally and a transplant, or found some other way to the Browns living out there in Denver?
I grew up in Vandalia, Ohio, 10 miles north of Dayton, where the Dayton airport is. My dad was a diehard Browns fan, And when the Bengals came around in 68, half the family went with the Bengals and half the family stuck with the Browns. And my dad stuck with the Browns because that was his original professional football team in 1946. So went to Ohio University. And after 18 months, 2 years of spending in back home in Vandalia, had the opportunity to move to Denver in 1985.
Nice. So when Dad stuck with the Browns, you stuck with the Browns as well, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely. And my mother,
good man.
And my brother, or I should say my mother ended up being a Browns fan, which just shocked me. But that's, we could talk for hours about that situation.
Yeah, good on all you guys, though, because we don't like the Bengals. No, but that's great. So, I mean, obviously, you guys have several events coming up. I know you mentioned the Backers Bash on Saturday. Did you guys have any other events that are coming up down the road this season, or even after the season, that you already know about?
We will also have Sunday tailgate at Stoney's. We're calling it the Twisted Tea Tailgate with facilities. We're going to open the doors at Stoney's on Sunday morning at 9:00. Guess what? It's not outdoors. It's not in the parking lot of the stadium. But guess what? It's nice and warm. It's 32 degrees, and there's a running water just around the corner. Who's the damn tailgate? Use Uber and get over to the stadium. So we will open up with Twisted Tea with the first annual Mile High Browns Backers beer pong tournament. So
hell yes.
We're gonna run a beer pong tournament for the first time and see how that goes and run with it on that Sunday morning. And then I have to add the folks at the Boulder Browns Backers, and Jamie Jasinski is the president up there in Boulder. And you may have seen Jamie and Boulder with what's his name? Nathan Segura. They've worn his shirts on their shows. So he's DJing our party on Saturday night, and then he's running a tailgate out in parking lot E here at, what do they call that damn thing now? The one that's named after us. Oh, Empower Field at Mile High Stadium. So anyways,
nice.
He'll have that going on, and that's what's happening. That's the future. And then, you know what? Every day at Stoney's, every day at Alpha Charlie's, every day at Stoney's Uptown is an event for a Browns game. And we're raising monies for our chapters, or for our charities all throughout this season and stuff like that. So things will not stop after the game here this coming Sunday.
Very nice. Well, if it wasn't Thanksgiving weekend, me and Kenny would be buying tickets to head on out there and whoop everyone's ass in beer pong. So,
it is next year. We want the dang game to be. I've already talked to sent a letter or email to Roger and said, "Hey, Roger, first freaking week."
You and Roger on a first name basis. That's already crazy.
First week of October, because the Browns are right back here next year.
Yeah.
So obviously, with the Browns play the Broncos this weekend, are you expecting a much larger crowd than usual? People coming in, flying in for the game?
I swear, and I have no data, information, or anything like that. But 2018, I swear there were at least 10,000 Browns fans in this stadium. 2019, I'd say there might have been 10 to 12. We were able to host tailgates in 2018 and 19. And unfortunately, the land that we did that on has been built on. So that parking lot is now an apartment building. So we knew this year, that's why we took our tailgate indoors, was just because we knew we couldn't top 19. We're going to work for, next year. Maybe we can top 19. But in 2019, our tailgate drew 18, it drew 1,500. In 2019, we drew 2,000 Browns fans out in our tailgate. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Just take over the apartment. Yeah. But so on, kind of Kenny started to get into the football side of things here.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the game against the Steelers this past week?
Oh my God. Like I said, there's a miracle going on the North Shore. That's me knocking on wood right now. There's a miracle going on the North Shore. We've got a defense that just doesn't freaking quit.
No.
And for DTR to do what he did, that last drive, 4 completions after not looking so terribly good, it's like I said, it's a freaking miracle. So,
yeah, and I will say on DTR's end, I think, and we just actually talked about this a few minutes ago in our show, but on DTR's end, I don't think it was all his fault. I think he actually would have looked a lot better if there wasn't so many drops in this game.
Njoku definitely. How I count 3, if I recall correctly. I recall 3 drops on his part. So yeah, there was a lot of drops.
Yeah. So without those, I mean, obviously, probably, I'm guessing he would have had about 100 more yards and another touchdown.
Yeah, I think the important thing was you saw a good level of growth from game 1, where he didn't have a lot of preparation, to this week, where it felt like he had enough time to at least work with the ones and get some good reps in this week of practice. So it probably looked a lot better.
Do you think it's all about designing an offense for the person that's behind center instead of, and it was obvious that Kevin, designed the offense for his skill set and not Deshaun Watson.
I'm still a little concerned that he threw the ball 43 times, but besides that, I think it looked much better this time around than the first time.
He threw the ball 43 times yesterday?
Yes, he did.
Oh my gosh. No, I had obviously I was selling too many raffle tickets because
you were out doing your job and we were here doing ours. So
but just the play design in general. I mean, it felt a lot more like the Jacoby Brissett offense from last year than what they've been trying to run with Deshaun. Yeah. So it was good to see. Yeah,
and so with that being said, I mean, how do you think the Browns have looked so far this season? Obviously, lots of ups and downs, a bunch of crazy things have happened, but how do you think they've looked overall as the season has progressed?
Well, the defense is just, what a turnaround. There's something that probably, obviously, with what happened, should have happened 2 years ago, maybe. Yeah. And if it could have happened 2 years ago, God knows where we'd be right now. Who knows where we'd be right now? So, the defense, and then, right now, if you'd have told me that we would be 7-3 going into the game against a local franchise, that we'd be 7-3. I tell you, I do a citizen's arrest on you because because at least 24 hours beforehand, you had the greatest hallucinogenic ever in your pocket somewhere to tell me that you're 7-3 and we don't have Nick Chubb and we don't have our starting quarterback Deshaun Watson.
Well, to be fair, it's all legal out there, and it's going to be legal here soon. So, Ohio did the right thing and passed that, and we're on board. Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, you mentioned something there with Deshaun Watson now being out. Obviously, the Nick Chubb injury was a huge blow earlier in the season. Now we get the Watson news. So what are the feelings, what were the feelings of your chapter, and what was the feeling in the building? First of all, when Nick Chubb went down, and then also, what was the reaction after the Deshaun Watson news broke? There's other news that I can tell you about and how the MHBB, if I can. There was a point this year when I unfortunately got a phone call, or not a phone call, but an email from the Browns telling me, Cliff, you can't be posting that about our quarterback on social media and stuff like that as a representative. Yeah. So I took it down and I had to publicly apologize and stuff. So that's where our chapter was at. That what have we freaking done? And I was so angry after when Nick Chubb went down. Yes, that was a devastating injury, but that was the perfect opportunity for Watson to freaking nut up and lead us to victory. And he didn't do it. And I was so mad. And now I'll tell you how I could curb that. I went and got me a Phil Dawson jersey.
There you go.
Yes.
The goat number 4 jersey. and now I feel so much better.
Perfect. Yeah, no, and I mean, Deshaun Watson, you're correct, especially early on. He definitely did not step up. But I mean, were you guys, obviously before the injury was pretty devastating. Were you guys starting to feel a little bit better about Watson in the weeks leading up to the injury?
Yeah, of course. I mean, how many he in the game before? 9 for 9, and he's got a broken shoulder. 9 for 9 in the second half, or 14 of 14 in the second half with a broken shoulder. It's obvious the man wants to play and he wants to win and he wants to be successful in Cleveland. So the things that I said in the past, obviously it's obvious at this point. It was obvious he was in pain that day. So, yes, it was devastating news. It's like, man, after that performance in that second half, it's like, okay, here we go. Bam.
But I will say this about Deshaun Watson: if nothing else, the dude went out in a blaze of glory for this season. He is like, "That's it. I'm going to give you guys something to remember and something to look forward to next season."
Yeah, exactly. He sure did.
And I would say though, to your defense there, I mean, leading up to that, he hadn't really kind of fulfilled his end of the bargain, right? So it was very frustrating early on. You had the half against Washington that was good, the game against Tennessee, which was good, and then he really hadn't done a whole lot that really gave you any kind of instilled any kind of faith that this was going to get better. And then amazingly though, the team kept winning. So as long as you're winning, it kind of hides some of those things. So I can feel where your frustration was. I think we've shared that during our show for the last several weeks, and you finally feel like you're like all of a sudden it's like you're 7-3. It's like, how'd this happen? Because you didn't feel like this was a team early on that was going to be 7-3 because you didn't have the quarterback play.
Yeah. No, we didn't have the quarterback play, but I certainly went into the beginning of the season believing that we would be 7-3 at this point. If everything was a perfect world,
we had a lot of talent for sure.
Right.
But when you consider Nick Chubb going down in week 2 and Deshaun not really playing that well,
at no point did I think after it's from the point Nick Chubb went down. At no point after that did I think we had any chance at 7-3.
Oh,
here we are.
Well, here we are.
So. That kind of sums up, last week's game and kind of the season so far. So let's look at this week's game. What are your thoughts on the Week 12 matchup with the team that's obviously in your guys' backyard, the Denver Broncos?
Certainly, another situation beginning of the season. Solid attitudes that the Browns are, going to win and big stuff like that. Also with the same attitudes that the Broncos are going to suck wind, and they would suck and win right there at the beginning of the game season. And we were all like, yeah, the Broncos suck. And then they started winning. They beat the Bills.
They did.
And then they come back and they hold on and win yesterday. And
to be fair, beating the Bills isn't the same as what it used to be. So they're 5-5. So
I understand completely, but compared to where the Broncos are at now and where they were, say, week 3 or 4 or 5 of this season is unbelievable. And are they now in the hunt in the playoffs?
I think didn't they make it back to 500 this weekend?
Yeah. Yep.
Or they have 4 and 5 still.
They got back to 500
now.
500. Yeah.
Yeah, they're back to 500. That's kind of a miracle, or not? That's not a miracle, but they got a great coach. They have a veteran coach that he just needed a few weeks to get it together and get.
It was about time because he was starting to make himself look silly with all the things he was saying.
Yeah, definitely. They were calling for, oh my God, we made a mistake going against Sean Payton. No, what do we do now? God, we got Russell Wilson and stuff like that. It is kind of at least Russell Wilson is at least playing now, and he's winning for them, and that scares me. The Mile High is kind of stoked about the Broncos all of a sudden. I mean, this team, there's 50,000
4 games in a row, and it'll do that to a town,
Yeah, it will. So where I was super confident about a win, here in Denver, now I'm a little bit leery, but you know what? Yeah. It's a miracle season on the shore.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, I mean, you kind of answered some of these this question a little bit, but what are I mean, what's the city saying overall about the Broncos? Obviously, they started poorly. You said they're a little bit more back on the bandwagon after the 4-game win streak. But are they super high on the team? They somewhere in the middle? Where are they at this point? Do they think they're making a run?
I'm sure, I don't have the beat that I used to have with the media and the hype of the Bronco fan. I concentrate on where my team's at. So I don't have that feeling that or understanding where they are at this point and stuff like that. I know my next door neighbor sells his tickets this time of year because it's too cold. So, so that's where we're at.
Cool. And then, so have they, I mean, I know that you might not have the same finger on the pulse as far as the Broncos go.
Right.
But do you know what have you heard anything on local radio out there? What are they saying about the Browns, if anything? Gosh, guys, once again, the local media, I don't listen to local radio. I just don't do it. I don't know what they're saying about, the stuff. From a local standpoint, I listen to Cartman and Lima in Cleveland. When I listen to Sports Talk, I listen to them guys on podcast. So I don't know where the beat is. I'll know a little bit more when I walk into the stadium on Sunday where they feel and stuff like that. But I envelop and I wrap myself in the Cleveland Browns and the Mile High Browns backers. There you go. I like.
Fair enough.
I like that. No, and I will say, I'm just hoping that they're kind of taking us lightly, like most teams seem to do.
I don't think anybody can take
the running saying around the league, defense. Cleveland is Cleveland. So hopefully that's their mentality, and we can come in and smack them in the mouth like we have just about every team this year. But before we get going, Cliff, I do want to mention that we are brought to you by who, Kenny?
We are brought to you by Seaside Events, the official cruise provider of the Cleveland Browns fan cruise.
And the organizer, exactly. Everything he just said. But with that in mind, I mean, I don't know if you were aware of this. I think you may have been, being the president of your chapter, but there is a Browns backers competition out there for bookings on the fan cruise.
Yes, I'm fully aware of it. Unfortunately, I thought it ended a week ago. And now that you bring it to my attention,
we've got good news for you. You got a little bit more time. It ends on Sunday, the 26th. So at your party on Saturday, you guys can go ahead and let everybody know that the competition is still open, and you guys have time to take the lead. All they have to do is go to brownsfancruise.com and click on the Browns backers logo on the homepage. That'll take them to a page where they can sign up, book their cabin, and kind of get in on the competition and the chance to win some really great prizes, including cabins for this cruise.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. I have the QR code that they can scan, and I actually have two places that it will be hanging where the at the 216 at 5280 Browns backers bash this Saturday. I'll make sure that several people scan that bad boy and start, researching. It's a great trip. I'll tell you what, I'd be on it if it was a week earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, a week later. If it was a week later,
yeah.
I'd be on it.
Well, here's some incentive for all your people out there. Let them know that we will be on the fan cruise. We'll be emceeing several events on the fan cruise, so it's going to be a really good time. We're going to make sure that everybody is enjoying themselves. So,
and we've been doing, along with the Browns backers interviews this year on our show, we've been interviewing the alumni that are coming on the cruise. So
check that out.
I can tell you that everybody that we have talked to, it's a really good mix. It's a lot of guys from, the older teams, the cardiac kids teams. There's a lot of guys from the modern era as well. They are super excited about not just the fan cruise in general, but the Browns backers being on the cruise. We've heard nothing but good things about their interactions with the Browns backers groups, and just the fact that they're all over the country, all over the world, and some of the stories we've heard from those guys just when they've had their first event or they go to some of these events, and just the love and appreciation that they feel. So I know they're looking forward to getting together with the Browns backers specifically on this event cruise. So it's going to be a really good time. I know these guys are really excited. It could be a bunch of different events and things, but most importantly, just that very interpersonal kind of communication communication with the players, access to the alumni to kind of just be able to go up and whenever you see them and just, hey, shake their hand, let them know what you mean they've meant to you and what the team's meant to you, and have a real candid conversation, which is tough to do in today's world where a lot of the times these autograph signings and things are kind of like red rope, events where you kind of get your 10 seconds with the guy and a picture opportunity. This is like very much a, sit down, have dinner with these guys, talk about certain plays and games. And
they're also personable and approachable.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they're great guys.
So it's going to be a really different event.
Is Phil on the cruise?
He is indeed.
Outstanding.
Yep, we'll be there.
Wow. You tell Phil, if you can get to Phil, you tell Phil, I'll be more than happy. We will pump the hell out of this damn thing.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we will, I know we have an interview coming up with him, so we'll be sure to let him know that you said hi.
Okay. I'll see him this Saturday. So
there you go. And so before we jump off, Cliff, anything else that you might want to say to Cleveland fans that maybe have moved away from Northeast Ohio, or just, Browns fans that are out there on their own, kind of missing that fellowship with other Browns fans because they're somewhere where the Browns don't play, and are potentially looking for, that Browns backers chapter that they can join. What do you have to say to those people?
Oh man, it's the beauty of Colorado is that we have a lot of chapters out here that we pretty much cover the state. We've got the Mile High Browns backers, obviously, here in the Denver area. Up north is Jamie Jasinski with the Boulder Browns backers. But Jamie was a genius, and he moved his chapter to a place called Lafayette and a bar called Dillinger's, and they're all into theirs. And Lafayette is much closer to the northern portion of the metro area. So if you're north of I-70 in this town, you should be going up to the Boulder Browns backers and checking out Jamie. Let's see. Let's move down. Let's move to Grand County, really Winter Park. Beth over there runs the Grand County Browns backers at the Winter Park Resort at another Stoney's. At the Stoney's Winter Park location and stuff. And then we move on to Aspen and Tori and her club at a barbecue joint just at the base of the mountain in Aspen. And then we move down to Colorado Springs and Erin and the Pikes Peak Browns backers. I hope I'm covering everybody. Then we go all the way over to the Western Slope, about a 45-minute drive from Moab, and the Grand Junction Browns backers on the Western Slope. And Mark, I'm going to see a lot of these guys in Denver this weekend, and I absolutely can't wait. So, yeah.
well, I will say this, Cliff. First of all, it has been great having you, but I will say you are an absolute advocate for all of these groups, and you are doing your job and more as president of the Mile High Browns backers. So, I mean, you got a good group there, and obviously we see where that comes from and where that kind of starts and ends is with you. So,
I do have I know Ryan said we were getting ready to wrap here, but I do have a couple questions here for you just to finish things up.
Kenny loves to jump in at the end and stat a few.
Yeah, we're having such a good time, Cliff. I just want to keep it rolling, First thing is, do you got a score prediction for this week's game?
Good call. We need that.
Oh, the score prediction. I can't be a squid. So I will say the Browns. I should get my son to answer this question because he's the last two times I've asked him, he's asked it. I will say the Browns will win 20-13.
Love it.
Okay, nice.
And then number 2, do you guys have your own merch line? And is there somewhere that folks can find that stuff?
I'm sorry?
Do you have your own merchandise line, shirts, hats, and things? Is there somewhere
really
folks
cool
can find that stuff?
Is I sell our T-shirts through Only in Cleve. They're a shop on Cam's Corner. In the West Park neighborhood at 100, I think it's 160th and Lorraine. You can go to Only in Cleve, and there's a couple chapters there that sell our stuff, and they also do some other great Cleveland type stuff. So if you want, I'd love for you to buy my merchandise, but go to Only in Cleve and stuff like that, and they'll take care of you.
Awesome. So one of the things that we like to do is called the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. We do have a voicemail box set up for anybody that is excited or maybe frustrated about play calling or something, or before, during, after the game, just have something to say, something they want to get off their chest, and then we play those clips live here on our show during the week and get some reactions to them.
Yeah, it's basically a voice box for you guys to call and just vent anything and everything Browns that you have to say. Just call and vent, and if it's a good take, we'll put it on the air and then we'll talk about it. So
it's just fun to do. If your group is interested, maybe you can let them know that's available out there as well.
And the number for that is 330-227-8080. So we'll put that up on the screen during the interview as well, so that everybody can check that out.
Outstanding. We'll make it happen. I have a hot take. If I could I hot take you right now?
Call it in.
Absolutely.
You want to do it now? Or you want to call in?
Let's do it right now.
Let's just do it right now.
Okay, do it right now. That's my hands bleeding because I'm knocking wood, but I think a miracle is happening on the lake shore.
Nice. So what does this miracle entail? Are we talking like Super Bowl this year? Or what are we talking?
Much more than what you would have thought would have happened if you'd lost Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson.
That's fair. That's fair. We like it. We like it. So again, Cliff, it has been great having you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hopefully meeting you guys in person one day. Maybe on the cruise. Maybe on the cruise. Maybe making it out to an event out there at Stoney's. Okay, and I was just going to say, next year when the Browns come to town, one of the things that we love to do is announcement schedules. Hey, the Browns are coming to town. Let's do something for the announcement, and we get together for announcements. Like I said, I hope it's the first week of October next year, and not Fingers
Thanksgiving
crossed.
Day weekend.
Fingers crossed. Well, thanks again, Cliff. We appreciate your time.
All right, you guys take care. Thank you for everything. We're the Mile High Browns backers, and you're listening to the Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns!